So I come from Salinas, California. It's a small agricultural community, mostly Latino, highly uneducated. Forbes is considered the second least educated city in the United States. One of the highest rates of gang violence per capita in the entire country. This is kind of the context in which I grew up in. And with that comes everything that teenage upbringing can bring. So I did what every 14-year-old boy did. I repped my community. So in particular, one day I put on my colors, my shirt, got my nice cords, got my little belt. And at the time, I mean, I had hair too, so I slicked back my nice black hair. It doesn't show anymore, but my nice black hair. And I headed down to the park to do what I do, which is rep my community. And we were playing basketball, me and a couple friends, and we see it. It's a slow-moving sedan, comes around the corner, slows down, the window pulls down and out, hand sticks, and we see the gun. And everyone in my community knows what to do, so we hit the ground, grip the pavement, and then we heard it, the 3 shots. 3 shots fired. And I remember just like hugging that concrete, holding it, trying to figure out something to keep me safe. But as we know, concrete doesn't come back. So I stood up, I'm looking around, and trying to attach my eyes to something to make sense of what just happened. And there it was, a little girl had been shot and killed right in front of me, not more than probably 10 feet from me. So confused, my friends and I take off running. We end up back in my house. Cops, or no sooner had we gotten inside the house and they were there, drag us back out to the place and make us stare at this dead body, intimidating us, both white and Latino cops, just pushing us, saying, "You did this, you know what you did." And I've never felt so guilty. I still feel guilty about this. So I go back home eventually later that night, and my grandma was there. My grandma, Carmelita Reyes, is a saint. She just hugged me and held me tight and told me it would be all right. A couple weeks later, she here's me and my buddy, one of the guys who was running around, talking about what happened, and we said we were going to get killed. We knew the guy was going to come after and kill us because he was still out there. They hadn't arrested him. And yeah, so she tells me, "Mijo, come here." So I, wander up to her. She goes, "You know who did it?" And I, didn't say anything. Looks at my friend. "You know who did it?" He kind of nods. She drags us out to the car, tells us to drive us to his house. So my buddy, I didn't have a license at the time, I was too young, but he starts driving. I think we're just going for a trip around the block. And of course, he starts driving us to the house. And so I'm thinking, this guy's gonna get me killed. My grandma's gonna get me killed. And I see us pull up on that street, and I see the house, and my grandma just gets right up, gets out of the car, tells us to get out of the car. And I'm scared at this point, near tears, thinking this is the moment I'm gonna watch myself die, my grandma die. This guy was gonna kill us. And she walks right up to this guy's front door and knocks on the door. And it's him who answers. He pulls open the door and looks at her and says, "What do you want?" And she says, "You know what you did, you better turn yourself in." And I was sitting, I was scared. I am scared because I thought this was the moment I was going to watch my grandma die, and I was going to die too. He closes the door, and she turns around and scurries back to the car and tells everyone to get in the car, me and my friend to get in the car, and we start driving off. And I'm sitting there, and as we're pulling off, we see him open the door, step out, which I imagine was the gun that he killed this little girl with. And he said, he yelled at us, "You know what's coming." And so I'm in the back seat just freaking out, driving away, and my grandma turns back around and says, "What are you scared about?" And I said, he's going to kill us. I mean, that's all I could think of at the time. And she said, "He's going to do the right thing." Now, he ended up turning himself in. And from that moment, I learned so much from my grandma. And that's really what this book is about. It's about these moments of deep courage and faith and resilience, because my grandma didn't just walk up to that front door and tell him to turn himself in. She then charged me for the rest of my life to make a difference in my community. She surrounded me with educators, with pastoral leaders, with people who really want to make a difference in our community, empowering the youth. So I've been doing that work ever since. And in communities of color like mine, really what this book is about, vocational discernment, about who we are and how we're going to live in the world, starts with that moment of survival. The things that we have to survive in today's times are, it's fear, it's violence, and my grandma showed me a different way of being. that's what Nobody Cries When We Die is all about.